Hello, grade 8. Hope you are doing great. Let's start our session for today. This is our last lesson in chapter 14. This is section 3. It talks about social relationships, page 366 in your textbook. Social relationships. Have you ever noticed a pair of squirrels chattering and chasing each other through the branches of a tree? Yes, this might happen, though it may not be clear why they behave this way, it is clear that they are interacting. Animals often interact with each other in groups or one-on-one. Animals may work together or they may compete or fight each other. All of this behavior is called social behavior. Social behavior is the interaction among animals of the same species. Animals depend on communication for their social interactions. So what about communication? Imagine what life would be like if people couldn't talk or read. There would be no telephones, no books, and no internet. The world would certainly be different, yes, for sure. Language is an important way for humans to communicate. Language is an important way for humans to communicate. So, what happens in communication? A signal must travel from one animal to another, and the receiver of the signal must respond in some way. So, this is a two-way communication. Animals do not use a language with complex words and grammar, but they communicate in many ways. Like the wolves in this picture, these wolves are howling to discourage neighboring wolves from invading their territory. So this is a way of communication to defend their territory. Communication helps animals survive. Yes, many animals such as wolves communicate to defend a territory from other members of the species. Animals also communicate to find food, warn others of danger, identify family members, frighten predators, and find mates. So these are the ways of communication, or these are the ways that the animals use to communicate. We have communication by sound, by touch, by chemicals, and by sight. So let's see. Animals communicate by signaling information to other animals through sound, touch, chemicals, and sight. Each of these methods can be used to convey specific information. Let's see how. Let's start by the first way of communication by sound. Many animals communicate by making noises. The wolves howl, dolphins use whistles and complex clicking noises to communicate with other dolphins. Also, the male birds may sing songs in the spring to claim their territory or to attract a mate. Sound is a signal that can reach many animals over a large area. Elephants, for example, use low-frequency rumbles to communicate with other elephants that are kilometers away. So the elephants use low-frequency sounds to communicate with other members or other elephants. Elephants communicate with low-pitched sounds that humans cannot hear. So we cannot hear the sound that the animals use to communicate. When an elephant is communicating this way, the skin of its forehead flutters, means it shrinks like this picture. Also, the humpback whales sing songs that can be heard for many kilometers. Both species use these sounds to convey information about their location. Number two, touch. The animals may also use touch to communicate. For example, chimpanzees often groom each other. The act of grooming involves animals resting together while picking bits of skin from each other's fur. They are taking parts of the skin from each other's fur. This activity is an important way for all the primates to communicate. Chimpanzees are grooming each other to comfort one another and calm one another. Through touch, chimpanzees may communicate friendship and support. Then we reach the third type of ways to communicate between animals. This is by chemicals. One way to communicate is through chemicals. The chemicals that animals use to communicate are called pheromones. Pheromones. Ants and other insects secrete a variety of pheromones. They secrete or produce a variety of pheromones. For example, alarm chemicals can warn other ants of danger. Alarm chemicals can warn other ants of danger. Recognition chemicals, this is another example. Recognition chemicals announce which colony an ant is from to both friends and enemies. Many animals use pheromones also to find a mate. Amazingly, the scientists found that elephants and insects use some of the same pheromones to attract mates. Fire ants use pheromones to control which colony members can reproduce. Fire ants use pheromones to control which colony members can reproduce. Like this one, the queen is in the middle. Okay, this is the fire ant queen. It can make pheromones that other ants in the colony cannot make. Then we reach to the last way of communication between animals. This is sight. Animals also use visual communication. When we smile to a friend, we are sending a visual message. Yes, this is by body language. Bees also use body language along with other forms of communication to spread news about food. And this is how they provide the information about food with their body language. This is called the dance of the bees. The dance of the bees. Let's see what happens. A honeybee leader does a waggle dance. It is named waggle dance. This is important to tell other bees where it has found food. Other worker bees, the other followers, they gather closely around the dancing bee to learn the details about the food source. Followers can tell what kind of food. They can know the type and kind of food by smelling the pollen grains that stick to the body of their leader. And also, all the leader may spit out some nectar for the followers to smell. This is how they know the type of food. Then the leader dances a figure eight. So the leader moves in a figure eight, beating its wings rapidly and waggling its abdomen, shaking and waggling its abdomen. The wings make sounds that communicate information about the food's distance from the hive. So this is he's sharing or is sharing information about the location of the food, the distance between the food source and the hive. As the bees goes through the center, it waggles its abdomen. In the center of the figure eight, it waggles its abdomen. The number of waggles tell the other bees how far away the nectar is. Then the direction of the center where the leader points his body, the direction of the center line of the figure eight tells the other bees the direction from the hive to the nectar or the source of food. Body language can communicate many ideas. An animal that wants to scare another animal may ruffle its feather to look bigger to scare the other animal, and it may show its teeth as well. Then visual displays are also used in courtship. So this is communication by sight, like the fireflies. This is a firefly. The fireflies blink signals to attract each other. Also, animals use body language when they are playing, like this dog. Dogs are playing bowing. Bowing to show that it wants to play. When dogs want to play, they drop down on their four legs. As you can see, they drop down in both the four legs. Living together. Tigers live alone, except for the time a mother tiger spends with her cubs. A tiger meets other tigers rarely. Yet, the tiger's closest relative, which is the lion, is rarely alone. Let's see how. Lions live in groups called prides. Lions live in groups called the prides. The member of the same pride, they sleep together, hunt together, and raise their cubs. So why do some animals live in groups while others live apart? Let's see. Now we will talk about the benefits of living in groups. Living in groups can be safer than living alone. Also, large groups can spot a predator quickly because they have so many pairs of eyes watching for danger. One animal can warn many others of danger, like this one. This is a ground squirrel that whistles a loud alarm to alert other ground squirrels that danger is near. So this is a benefit of living in groups. Also in groups or also groups can work together to defend themselves. Like what? These musk oxen, it is a type of a wild buffaloes or wild cows. The threatened musk oxen will circle their young with their horns pointed outward to defend the young ones, as you can see. Living together can also help animals find food. Animals that hunt alone can usually kill only animals that are smaller than themselves. They cannot take in larger prey. In contrast, the predators such as lions and wolves, they hunt in groups. They can kill larger prey, like this picture. These lions already killed an elephant. Can you imagine the difference in size between them? This is because they are hunting in groups. Then what about the downsides? What about the disadvantages of living in groups? Living in groups can cause problems as well. Like what? Animals living in groups must compete with each other for food and mates. An area that has enough food for only one animal, for sure it will not have enough food for a group of animals. In these cases, groups must move around. They are in continuous moving in search of food. Also, animals in groups attract predators, so they must always be in the lookout. They must be watching for danger. Living as living as a group can also help disease spread. If one animal got infected, all the animals will get the disease, and this is disastrous for the group. These are the downsides of living in groups. Thank you very much and see you inshallah in the next video. Thank you guys.